we keep us provided for, we keep us connected. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Tavis, Smiley. Glad to have you with us in this third and final hour of our program today. And what a day it has been. I said a couple hours ago, I feel like I was in the bouncy house at one of those kids' birthday parties. That's what it's felt like today, or maybe a pinball machine is another analogy. But we've had to cover so much stuff today. Starting in hour one, I mean, the government shutdown is officially over. We'll circle back to that here in just a second with our guest in this final hour. All these Jeffrey Epstein emails that are coming out, Kamala Harris and her comments about Israel, Gaza, and her new enlightenment. It's been quite the day for breaking news. And so we've tried to cover it as best we can. Or could, I should say, in this 3-hour program. With 1 hour to go, I'm turning to something that's vitally important, I think, to all of us. Claire Babineaux-Fontenot is the outgoing CEO of Feeding America, and invited her back on to share her view of the hunger crisis in America and the latest updates on SNAP funding. There is a clip I want to play first, Miles, and this is the clip from... what clip am I looking for? What am I looking for? Let me come back to that a little bit later. There's a clip I want to play here in a few minutes here. Let me find what I want to do here. But I want to start with Claire Babineaux-Fontenot, again, the outgoing CEO of Feeding America. And I want to start with this particular question, and we'll jump from here. So as you know, the shutdown is officially over now. The votes are in. Those Democrats, as far as I'm concerned, defected and caved. But here we are, and we've addressed those other issues, and I don't need to make Claire Babineaux-Fontenot Politico as the head of CEO, as the CEO rather, of Feeding America. That's not my point. We'll come to that again. We've done that, and we'll do more of that later on. What I want to talk to her about are a few things. What, to her mind, the moral cost of this shutdown has been. And so that's not a political question. That's a practical question. I think it's a fair question, a legitimate question. What has been the moral cost of this shutdown, no matter who you blame for it? It's one thing I want to get to in this hour. I want to talk about these 42 million people who are enrolled in SNAP. Who are they? Want to get a sense from her as to who these people are that we've been talking about with regard to these benefits. And make no mistake about it, just because the shutdown's over, don't mean that these SNAP benefits are going to happen quickly. It's going to take a while for things to get back, back to a situation where people get what they need and what they're used to getting. So these systems sort of take a moment to reboot. So we still have this period that we're in where everybody who's on this program doesn't necessarily get what they're used to getting right away. We'll talk about some of the stats around hunger in America, certainly in Black America. We'll talk about some of the root causes. And then, of course, we're going to talk about some solutions and some efforts. So there's a lot to cover in this hour. First, I say hello to Claire Babineaux-Fontenot. Good to have you back on. How are you today?
I'm doing all right, and thanks for having me back, Tab.
It's good to have you on. So let me start with that question. It's a big question, but I want you to unpack it as
a toll when you think about what it means to have as a bargaining chip, whether or not people get food, to have be a parent who was counting on your the supplemental nutrition assistance program, the food stamps, that they got loaded on those cards, counting on them, counting the days. I think some people who are not well acquainted, as I know I am, because I am a farmer SNAP recipient, with the fact that by the end of the month you don't have anything left on that card. So because it's not enough to start with. So imagine it's not there, and then nothing's coming on November the 4th. So I mean the 1st. So the ways that people in our country have felt that they can count on the nation to ensure that darkness at least has a little light inside of it, people probably don't feel they can count on the government to do anymore, and that's tragic. The trauma that's associated with what people have been through over the course of those days during the shutdown. That includes people who were receiving SNAP, but it's not just people who receive SNAP who are impacted by a lack of SNAP benefits. I hope we get a chance to talk some about that. But think about how many federal workers were without pay, and for how long. Think about whether, no matter how much money you make, how hard would it be for you to go without one or two paychecks? I mean, it has definitely had a toll, and I don't know that we'll ever be able to put a proper number on it.
Yep. Just getting started with Claire Babineaux-Fontenot. She's the outgoing CEO of Feeding America, and you heard her just a moment ago be rather transparent about her own story, and I heard it. I know you heard it. When we come forward, I want to give her a chance to just unpack that a little bit. When you think of the CEO of Feeding America, everybody knows Feeding America. We know their work. We see their commercials. We see the celebrities who support their work. It's an amazing organization that has done some pretty amazing work under her leadership. And yet, when you think of the CEO of Feeding America, you don't think that she was herself a SNAP recipient. But that's exactly what she just said. So when we come forward, I'm going to ask her just to share a bit more about her own personal story, because I mean the point that she just made is the point, that every one of us is just a paycheck or two away from being in a food line somewhere. That is the reality for most Americans, not the rich and the lucky, but for most of us. You go without a couple of paychecks, you in some trouble. And so whether you are a recipient of SNAP benefits or not, to her point, those other federal government workers who don't get SNAP benefits, found themselves in a situation where something didn't happen sooner than later. They were going to be borrowing money or standing in somebody's food line. So we are all in this situation together where, again, one or two paychecks disappears and we got some trouble. So I want to hear more about her personal story from being being a SNAP recipient to being the CEO of Feeding America, and then we'll
dignity. This is Tavis Smiley.
Can you dig it? Come on!
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-729-7070. That's 1-800-729-7070. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free free quote today. That's 1-800-729-7070. Details on example rate at selectquote.com.
Break out the champagne. Everybody get a glass.
Tavis Smiley is now ranked number 16 nationally and the highest rated talk show hosted by an African American on the 2025 Talkers Heavy 100 list of the most important talk radio hosts in the nation. Last year, Tavis ranked number 33 and the year before, number 45. The Tavis Smiley Show has rapidly expanded its national syndication to now include nearly 50 radio stations across the country and counting. Congratulations, Tavis.
Yay, yay!
Hey, KBLA 1580 delegation, your health matters to us. We know that information is power, especially when it comes to prevention and treatment. That's why we're proud to introduce the brand new KBLA Health and Wellness Hub. This online space is built just for you, connecting our community to trusted health resources, culturally relevant care, and even access to diverse clinical trials and emerging therapies. Whether you're looking for information on common conditions, mental health support, or just want to stay on top of your wellness journey, we got you. And the best part, it's all on our website at kbla1580.com. Accessible, empowering, community-focused. So just go to kbla1580.com and click on the Health and Wellness Hub icon, because knowledge is power and your health is everything. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
You are indeed with Claire Babineaux-Fontenot, the outgoing CEO of Feeding America. Just trying to get those in the space of feeding these Americans who need help in this hunger crisis in the richest nation in the history of the world, how they have to show up between now and then. Then, of course, being when these SNAP benefits get back online. Before I get to any of that, though, Claire Babineaux-Fontenot, you were so transparent a moment ago, which I deeply appreciate, suggesting that you at one point in your life were, in fact, a recipient of these SNAP benefits. You have been the CEO of Feeding America. I wonder if you might just say a quick word about your own backstory, because again, when we think of the CEO of a company, we don't think of you having been a recipient of a program like this earlier in your life.
Yeah, and in fact, that's one of the fundamental challenges that we have in the country is we caricature people who receive SNAP benefits or food stamps as though somehow they don't have dreams for their own lives, as though when their babies are born, they don't want the same things that all of us want for our babies, or that they don't want to retire with the comforts that we want our elders to retire with, ourselves to retire with. It's a fiction, and I'm an example of the fact that that's true. So to unpack it a bit for you, I have a unique family story. I'm one of 108 children who call my mom and dad mom and dad. I don't tend to differentiate among my siblings by biology, because that wasn't the most important thing that bound us together. But my parents are in the National Adoption Hall of Fame, and they didn't graduate high school. And they had all of these big dreams for their kids, like as parents do. And I was among the ones who had all of these beautiful privileges that my parents didn't get, like the chance to graduate high school, to go to undergrad. And then I had a dream from when I was a little kid of becoming a lawyer. And I found myself in law school, and I had no food. I don't mean, Tavis, that I had just a little bit of food, or I just had ramen noodles. I knew how to survive on ramen noodles. I'd done it throughout undergrad. I had no food. I had no money. I had no gas. Across from my little apartment complex was the Salvation Army. It was essentially two blocks away, but across the highway on Airline Highway in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to law school at Southern University Law Center in Baton Rouge, um, and I will never forget what I felt like going into that building. I had my head down, and the way my grandma would have said, my tail between my legs. I was so embarrassed about the fact that I was going to be going there to get food stamps or to get some kind of help. And there was this lady who greeted me, and I wish I remembered her name, but I'll never forget her face or her voice. And as I walked in, she didn't ask me any probing questions. She just asked me one. She said, "You need some help, baby?"
Mm.
And I said, "Yes, ma'am." And then she made sure um, there wasn't enough food stamps to buy lobster
Mm-hmm.
or caviar. Um, I got myself some Kool-Aid and some Domino's sugar and some chicken and some green beans. And I made it through. I had to work through law school um, and I had to make it to my next check so that, and I was able to make it to my next check because of food stamps. So I have this, and so many of us, of my siblings, have stories of food insecurity. The normal path into our home was because something was desperately broken in the one that you were born to.
Mm-hmm.
So when people talk about people experiencing hunger or people on SNAP inside of these ridiculously wrong caricatures, it's something that I take personally.
Mm.
Um, so, what is the face of hunger in America? Well, it's like my face, um, but it's like yours too. So, some stats. May I throw out a few
Please.
stats now?
One,
Um,
one second. Before you
okay,
do that, I promise we'll get to the stats.
sure,
But I want to stay. I want to stay on this just one more second.
sure.
Um, your parents, your adoptive parents, sound like some pretty amazing people. And you said that they themselves didn't have high school degrees, high school
Yes,
diplomas. But I wonder if you just might say a word. This kind of stuff just it touches me. It moves me. Um, when I hear stories like this, and I've heard stories like this over the course of my career, but it never gets. I never want to run past this so quickly.
thank you.
When there's a moment to talk about the altruism, the
Yes,
love, the
yes.
outreach of people to others who need help, and to have 107, 108 siblings. The minute you said that, I knew where you were going. I said, "Oh, I know where this story's headed." But I wonder if you might just say a word about who these two people are, these parents that
Yes.
had that much love to spread to 108 other people.
I mean, it's just absolutely remarkable. My parents. May I say their names? They're no
Absolutely.
longer
If you, I'd be upset if you didn't. Yeah.
they're no longer in this physical realm. Mary Alice and Warren Babineau.
Mm.
The both of them were the children of sharecroppers in South Central Louisiana. Both of them were brilliant, brilliant. Neither of them um, were able to graduate high school. Both of them had responsibilities in their families that included them prioritizing making sure that crops got out of fields, things that people think about as something that happened a long, long, long time ago. Well, I am 61, so maybe it wasn't that recent,
Mm-hmm.
but I remember being in the fields at my grandmother's house, my grandparents' house, on the maternal side, picking cotton and shucking corn. Um, and I remember how dignified my grandparents were and how much respect I have for them to this day, and what they instilled in my parents. Each set of grandparents instilled a sense of responsibility and duty beyond yourself.
Mm.
And um, I'm trying to make the story shorter, but I appreciate you giving me a little space. But the way the story goes, my father was off working. He did turnaround work. He worked on bridges in Baton Rouge, and we lived in a small town outside of Baton Rouge called Opelousas. And
Mm-hmm.
he was away, and my mom heard that there were these two babies in a neighboring town, and they had been found suffering from severe neglect. And without calling my dad, there were no cell phones. Um, she got in our station wagon, which they still had, and I remembered. Um, and she went to that town and she picked up those babies and she brought them home. And my dad, when he was alive, they did this. There was an interview on NBC Nightly News about my parents, and my father said the most important expression he ever learned was, "Yes, Mary Alice." So he learned to just say yes because he had great ideas. So, and not.
Miles, Faraji, somebody help me. The audio went out at the wrong time. Audio went out at the wrong time. I'm told that she's on I guess on a Zoom call and it crashed. So we're gonna get her back up right quick. It's radio, it happens, live radio. But this story is, as we say, it's getting good. But to hear the story of these Babineaux who brought in 108 kids, and I'm so delighted. Is she back now? I'm so delighted that that NBC News back in the day did a profile of them. I got another question for Claire about this in a second. But Claire, are you back with me now?
I'm back.
All
yes.
right. Finish that story. It was getting good. It was getting good. I said the devil is a lie. The devil is a lie trying to interrupt this good story. Go on and finish that story about your dad. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So I guess the essence of the story is that my mom simply could not look past children in need, and she couldn't do it. So they never planned to have 108 children. And they were not people of significant means, but what they had, they shared. And it's one of the reasons that it actually informs the earlier story about my own food insecurity and my needing to access food stamps. I guarantee you my mother would have found a way to get to me and to get food to me. She would have, but I knew that it would not be without sacrifice for her to do it. And I refused to do that. So I was making it without any food. I went without food a little bit before I went over to that Salvation Army, and it was a lifeline for me, as it is for so many people.
Tell me very quickly here, how far into your journey, you mentioned law school as part of your backstory, of course. How far into your journey did the Babineaux live to see the way that you've been so blessed, and the work and witness that you now engage is meaningful beyond description as the CEO of Feeding America. But now that I understand your backstory better, I understand why you were the right person to run Feeding America for as long as you've run it. But very quickly, how far into your journey did they live?
So my mother got to see me become a lawyer and do all kinds of things. She passed before I was an executive at Walmart.
Keeps dropping. This line keeps dropping. We'll get her back again. We're gonna get through this conversation, something by hook or by crook. It might be that she needs to call into the line, Miles, to the phone number and get her off that Zoom. I don't know. Sometimes the Zoom is better than the phone. That out. But we're talking to, in case you just tuned in, Claire Babineaux-Fontenot. She is the outgoing CEO of Feeding America, and I've talked to Claire a number of times, and every conversation is different. You never know where the story is going to go, and that's what I love about this job every day. Unlike most talk show hosts, I don't walk into the studio with a blue card with a bunch of questions on it. As a matter of fact, I never, ever in my career walk into conversations really with questions pre-written. I want to be in the moment. Now, that means you got to be prepared. You got to do your homework and know who you're talking to and talking about. So it requires me to stay up late at night, later than I want to many nights. But I walk in here as best I can, trying to be prepared for these conversations. But I don't have a bunch of pre-written questions because I want to follow the conversation where it takes me. I want to be in the moment. I don't mind being on this tightrope, as it were, every day for 3 hours a day. But when you do that, these are the kind of conversations you engage in. So every conversation is different. I never know where it's going to go. So I've talked to Claire a few times over the course of my career and her career as the CEO of Feeding America, but did not ever get to a point of hearing all of this backstory about her own life. My sense is this, that each of us doesn't just have a story. Each of us is a story. We don't just have a story. We are stories. And you just never know how the things that you are enduring right now are going to make you a better person in the long run, how they're going to inform your work and witness into the future, So we despise not the day of small things. How about that? Let's not despise the day of small things, so you never know what and how the trouble and the travesty and the travail that you're going through in your own career is going to set you up somewhere down the road. And so I can't imagine that Claire Babineaux-Fontenot would be the kind of CEO that she has been at a place like Feeding America, of all places, if she didn't have the backstory that we're learning so much about in this particular conversation. So I was just asking her, got about 90 seconds now, Claire, now that you're back. We can continue, of course, when we come forward. We got the rest of the hour, but I was asking very quickly in 90 seconds, right quick here, how far into your journey your parents live? And you were telling me that your mom lived long enough to see you graduate from law school?
She did, and in fact, to go through most of my career and get to be an executive at Walmart.
Right.
My father died during the pandemic, so he saw me as the CEO of Feeding America.
Wow. That's. I want to pick up on that note when we come forward, and we'll get back to these other issues. But with that kind of backstory, her father lives long enough to see her become the CEO of Feeding America. What kind of story is that when you're one of 108 kids in a family with two parents who didn't finish high school themselves, and the father at least lives long enough to see you graduate from law school, become an executive at the world's largest retailer, and they end up being the CEO of Feeding America? That's a story right there. I didn't know this conversation was going to go this way, but I'm so glad that it is pushing us in this direction. So we'll pick up on this final point about her father living to see her become the CEO, and then we'll get back into the data about this SNAP program, who these persons are, what happens next now that the government shutdown is officially over, and how the space of providing food are standing in the gap until these SNAP benefits start rolling out again. You're listening to Claire Babineaux-Fontenot, the CEO of Feeding America, right now on Tavis Smiley.
What's your quarrel with the world? You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. The Patriots host the Jets on Thursday Night Football. New England leads the division at 8-2 after 7 straight wins, and Stephon Diggs is pumped to debut the new uniforms.
I think the new uniforms are great. Definitely something to be excited about. Try not to get caught up in all that. We just got to focus on winning the game.
The Jets have won 2 in a row, but still sit last at 2-8. Billionaire philanthropist Mackenzie Scott has donated $19 million to Voorhees University, an HBCU in South Carolina. The gift will fund scholarships, boost the endowment, and improve facilities. Scott previously gave the HBCU $4 million in 2020. And tomorrow is National Ruby Bridges Walk to School Day. Schools nationwide will honor Bridges, who at age 6 in 1960 became the first black child to attend an all-white elementary school in the South. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Hard rock style is coming to the Central Valley, just 15 miles south of Bakersfield off Route 99. You'll find world-class gaming and entertainment. Less drive time equals more playtime. The all-new Hard Rock Casino Tejon, opening November 13th.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
It was a rough night Wednesday for both of LA's NBA teams. The Lakers were in Oklahoma City and got crushed. The defending NBA champs beat the Lakers by 29, 121-92. 30 points and 9 assists for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The Lakers had 20 turnovers. At the Intuit Dome in Inglewood, Denver Nuggets center Nikola Jokic scored 25 points in the first quarter against the Clippers en route to a 55-point performance. The Clippers have lost 6 straight after going down 130-116. LeBron practiced for the first time this season on Wednesday. He participated in 5-on-5 scrimmages with the Lakers G League team, the South Bay Lakers. LeBron has been sidelined with a sciatic nerve condition in his lower back and left leg. The Lakers are planning to give him some playing time on Sunday in South Bay's next game against the Rip City Remix, the Portland Trailblazers G League affiliate. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
We got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know? The United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time. Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
KBLA Talk 1580, standing with you in perilous times. If you've been impacted by the federal government shutdown or the discontinuation of SNAP benefits, you can find a food bank near you that's offering free groceries by going to lafoodbank.org or call 211. Additionally, LA County offers free meals at certain parks. There are meals and snacks for kids and seniors. Visit parks.lacounty.gov to find out which centers are offering which programs and to register in advance. And in addition to offering 2 free meals per day for all students, the LA Unified School District provides weekend meal kits for its students by request. The meal kits can be picked up on Fridays at grab-and-go locations. Please visit lausd.org/Cafe LA. That's lausd.org/CAFELA. We keep us safe. We keep us provided for. We keep us connected. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
It's Cybersecurity Awareness Month. LifeLock is here with tips to help protect your identity. Use strong passwords, set up multi-factor authentication, report scams, and update your software. And for comprehensive identity protection, LifeLock is your best choice. LifeLock alerts you to suspicious uses of your personal information and fixes identity theft, guaranteed, or your money back. Start your protection today with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
BET and PBS, The Tom Joyner Morning Show, and NPR, the cover of Jet and the cover of Time. #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list, 20 honorary doctorate degrees, a dozen NAACP Image Awards, a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, a Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. From talk shows to talk radio, nobody's ever done it better. You like that? This is Tavis Smiley.
going to take you. We've talked before, but never have I been exposed to the richness of her backstory. One of 108 kids adopted by the Babineaux in Louisiana, who themselves did not have high school diplomas. They end up doing such amazing work. They're profiled on NBC News all those years ago. Claire ends up becoming a lawyer and then later the CEO of Feeding America in the interim. In the midst of that, she ends up being a high-ranking executive at Walmart, the world's largest retailer. So she's had quite the journey. I want to just buttonhole this right quick before I move forward. So you said, I asked you how long your parents lived into your journey, and you mentioned that your father lived long enough to see you become an executive at Walmart and the CEO of Feeding America. And I want to just close this part of our conversation by asking how the two of you and your father, celebrated or processed this journey that took you to becoming the CEO of this major organization from those humble beginnings.
Wow. Well, maybe I can encapsulate it in a moment that I had with my dad.
Sure.
It's the peak of the pandemic. Feeding America is being called to serve in ways we'd never been called to serve before. We've got to serve 60 million people in the middle of a global health pandemic. And I went over to see my dad in Opelousas, and he and I were having a conversation, and I turned to him, and he was suffering with dementia toward the later part of his life. So I assumed he couldn't hear me, Tavis. So I'm sitting in the room with him, and I said, Daddy, I don't know what to do. And he opens his eyes, and as clearly as he ever told me anything, he said, just be you, Clarice. And that bolstered me. And I thought, wait a minute, I come from this stock. I'm from this family. We've been through all kinds of controversy. We can do this. I'm going to do this. So it's buoyed me ever since.
What an amazing story. If you've just tuned in and didn't hear the first part of this conversation about Claire's amazing backstory that leads her to becoming the CEO of Feeding America, I encourage you to check out the podcast later tonight when it's posted so you can hear the fullness of this conversation. You will not be disappointed. And I think it's not just instructive and informative, but inspiring, particularly and especially in a moment like this. As I said earlier, despise not the day of small things. You never know how the journey and the upheavals and all the trials and tests and tribulations, you never know how all that stuff is going to become a part of your story that leads you to places that you could never have imagined being, including being the CEO of a major institution like Feeding America. Now, that's it. Let me pivot to a couple other things here in the last 20 minutes of this hour in the conversation that I have now with Claire. Again, my intent with this question is not to make you political, but I think you'll take my point here. The Trump administration has really pushed back rather aggressively on wanting to feed these people. They have fought court orders. They've, again, just been rather rambunctious, as it were, when it comes to not feeding these 42 million Americans who are enrolled in this program, and is that there's too much abuse and too much fraud in this program. I wonder if you might say a word about that, because this reminds me of the Reagan era days, when Reagan was running around calling people welfare queens. But there's always, as you said, you used the word caricature earlier. There's always this public sentiment on the part of some that they can demonize or bastardize these kinds of corrective programs, these kinds of programs that literally are life and death for some of our fellow Americans. But again, the line has been that there's too much abuse and fraud in these kinds of programs. Do you buy that argument?
Well, first, let me start with there are humans involved in SNAP, and therefore, surely there must be some fraud somewhere.
Sure.
However, this program, this initiative, SNAP, has been analyzed up, down, and sideways. And it is actually one of the least fraudulent systems that we have in government, period. It is not perfect, though. And I invite the administration to work with us to make it better. And it could be made better. There are ways that you could put everyone on the same type of platform, where right now it's so hard for people who qualify for SNAP to get access to the benefits that they are entitled to. You could standardize. You could make it easy to access by putting it on computers instead of some places it literally is a manual process. So there are ways you could definitely make it better. And in making it better, you actually make it more resistant to fraud, which I think would be wonderful. I don't want people to take food away from people who really need it. That's the last thing that I want. But everyone who needs it ought to be able to get it, and it ought to be easy for them to get access to it. So there are ways we can do a better job, and Feeding America is ready to work with the administration to make the program better.
Yep. Why is this might be the most important question, even though the government shutdown is officially over again, as I said a couple of times, this program has to reboot. So there are people on this program that aren't going to get these benefits right away, hence the need for programs like Feeding America to sort of stand in the gap, as it were. But the question I want to ask now is why America's hunger crisis continues to grow. What's that about? Why is it growing and as opposed to shrinking?
Yeah. Well, because we're not doing the stuff we know works. So let me throw out a few data points. Number one, I'll bet many in your audience will be surprised to learn that food insecurity rates in the United States were higher after COVID than they were at any moment in time during COVID. During COVID, we got the attention of the American public, the attention of policymakers, and we did the things that work, like child tax credit, like adding more choices to people who do get SNAP, like making it easier for people to access their benefits. What we saw was when people have more choices, they make better choices. We saw food insecurity rates go down during COVID. And then we stopped doing those things. We started pulling those supports out, and then the rates started going back up again. Another data point, though, Tavis, is the highest imagine what it means for people who do. I mean, it's absolute, and there are lots of SNAP recipients who also have to supplement by coming to the charitable food system, by the way. That's how nearly 50 million people turned to us last year alone, and that's before any of this happened.
No, it is one of the worst indictments. It's one of the worst indictments of this country, again, the richest nation in the history of the world, that the working poor are going hungry. There's just no way that you can explain to me how in this country people who work are still hungry. But when the working poor are the ones standing in these food lines, along with those who do in fact qualify for these SNAP benefits, that's a real problem. And so this is why this government shutdown and the impact it has had is not just on those who do in fact qualify for food stamps or SNAP benefits, but for those who work for the federal government and who didn't get paid for the last 43 days, and others who have been impacted. It's like a domino effect, right? These dominoes start falling, and everybody gets impacted by it at some level. And so while I am not happy about these Democrats who defected, at least the government is operating once again, and hopefully it will relieve some of the stress, some of the pressure on those who have been relying on these SNAP benefits, and more to the point, relying on programs like Feeding America to help close the gap, even though they are going to work every single day, just like you and me. You're listening to Claire Babineaux-Fontenot on Tavis Smiley.
Interrogating and unpacking.
That's what we do around here.
You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right. Y'all gotta try that Febreze car. Just right, just right, just right. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistency, all over Febreze car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face when it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah, breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
We ask seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone, and should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month. If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Nationwide is so much more than a great insurance company. They're one of America's largest financial services companies. Like how I'm more than Saquon Barkley, the NFL's reigning leading rusher. I'm also the NFL's leading husher.
Has reinvented vehicle buying. From click to curb, everything's covered. Ever try to buy a car online and end up in a parking lot with a stranger and some blind trust? That era is over. Now with Secure Purchase, eBay isn't just where you find your car. It's where you buy it, start to finish. Title, financing, registration, delivery, it's all built in. This is the modern way to buy your next ride on eBay. eBay. Things people love. Secure Purchase is powered by Caramel Dealer Services, LLC, an eBay subsidiary.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line.
But my throat has officially thrown in the towel. Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
You are indeed with Claire Babineaux-Fontenot, the outgoing CEO of Feeding America. We invited her on this program today because, as you all know, the government shutdown, the longest in the history of this republic, ended this week. But it's going to take some time to reboot these various programs, including the SNAP program that 42 million people in this country rely on. Claire, a moment ago, gave some data points. Again, we've been talking about the moral cost of this shutdown, no matter who you blame for it. But she mentioned some data points a moment ago. I want to add to that and just get her take on some of these some of this data. In 2023, 22% of black people in this country experienced food insecurity, more than double the rate for white Americans. 27% of black children lived in food insecure households in 2023, compared with 14% of white children. Black Americans are overrepresented in the SNAP program, making up over a quarter of recipients, despite being only 12.6% of the population. There are some stats about the black community in particular. But it's these root causes that always get me. Again, these root causes in the richest nation in the world. Systemic racism and historical inequities push people onto the SNAP program. Poverty and income disparities push people onto the SNAP program. Geographic food desert. I've got food on my mind, food desert. Geographic and food desert issues push people onto the SNAP program. And, of course, there are always these barriers to certain government programs, systemic barriers that keep people in trouble and searching for food and other help for that matter. But I just want to throw a few of them out there. I wanted you to say a quick word just about these root causes of why so many black folk in particular end up relying on a program like SNAP, Claire.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to add one to the mix. So people sometimes ask me, what do you mean when you talk about systemic barriers? And I think one of the best examples is actually relevant to what you're talking about right here. So we have built a system that says you shouldn't aspire to get off of SNAP, because if you get enough dollars to buy yourself, get a down payment on a house, on the journey toward getting those dollars and putting them in the bank, you'll lose the house you have. If you take, in many cases, if you take a $1 an hour increase in your compensation, you lose all your child care benefits. So there's this notion of benefits cliffs in this country,
Right.
and our supports for people are built on that shaky foundation of a benefits cliff. So it conspires to perpetuate poverty. And we could acknowledge the fact that the system is broken, that it's desperately flawed, and we could decide to do something about it and create extra rungs so people actually have a pathway out of poverty. Because food insecurity is just a symptom of poverty, just to be clear.
Yep.
So all the things that contribute to poverty contribute to food insecurity.
When we come forward in our remaining moments with Claire Babineaux-Fontenot, I want to go exactly where she's pushing me, and that is how we fix this into the future. This crisis, this current crisis, I was going to say has now been averted. It wasn't averted. It actually happened. It was as real as rain for a lot of people who didn't get checks and didn't get food during this time period. So the crisis is not averted, but it has now been addressed. There's another A word, not averted, but addressed. But what we've not addressed are the long-term realities that this hunger crisis in the country is growing, as I said earlier, and not shrinking. And that's where we'll close this conversation about how we arrest that particular development. You're listening to Claire Babineaux-Fontenot, CEO of Feeding America, on Tavis Smiley.
For all the freedom-loving folk, this is Tavis Smiley.
I feel like freedom.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Imagine a Los Angeles where everyone can thrive, where communities have access to the resources they need to succeed. That's the vision of Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. They're dedicated to improving life in LA County by providing educational support, employment assistance, and spaces for community engagement. By 2050, they want LA to be the best place to connect, create, learn, live, and play. They're working toward an education system that's well-resourced and culturally responsive, becoming a hub for artists and innovators, and making sure everyone has access to healthy food, quality healthcare, and safe housing. It's about building a future where we all have the chance to succeed. We invite you to learn more about their mission and get involved with Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. Every girl deserves a chance to shine. That's the belief behind Forgiving for Living, Inc. Since 1999, this organization has been empowering at-risk girls ages 13 to 18, helping them overcome behavioral and mental health challenges. Founder Wendy Gladney's personal journey inspired the mission to give girls hope and purpose through the power of forgiveness. Through their ambassador program, workshops, and annual conference, Forgiving for Living has touched over 3,000 young lives, providing mentoring, life skills, training, and tools for building self-esteem and confidence. You can make a difference. Visit a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
And the top-rated African-American talk show host in the nation, according to Talkers Magazine. You're tapped in with Tavis Smiley right now.
Tavis Smiley and Claire Babineaux-Fontenot, the CEO of Feeding America. I've got 3 minutes left in this conversation to talk about solutions, how we fix this long-term. Claire, the mic is yours. Claire, can you hear me? She may have her mute button on. Miles, why don't you talk to her right quick and make sure we've had so many issues in this hour. Just want to make sure she can hear me with this exit question, because this is the most important part of the conversation. How do we fix this long-term challenge that we have when it comes to feeding these 42 million Americans? And again, that number is growing. It's not just those 42 million. It's that the hunger crisis in this country continues to grow and grow and grow. So we finally addressed this particular crisis for these last 43 days, but by no means have we done anything to address hunger in America writ large. And that's problematic. Apparently, we lost the phone line, so we're done with Claire for this hour. We got 2 great hours in front of us. I'm sorry, I'm done for the day, right? That was it. Thank you. Got me all twisted now. So anyway, we thank Claire Babineaux-Fontenot for her leadership as CEO of Feeding America. We thank her for coming on the program today. The technical issues in this hour notwithstanding, I think you understand that this issue needs to be addressed long-term when it comes to feeding fellow citizens. And so some of that has to do, I'm sure Claire would have spoken to this if we had gotten her back, policy and advocacy. Community-based initiatives like community gardens, urban farms, support for Black-owned businesses that can improve food access, strengthening nutrition programs, supporting food banks and pantries. But mostly it's that policy and advocacy. We have to do better. I suspect that into our future there will be another government shutdown at some point, and more people will be on SNAP at that point. And so this crisis will be even greater then than it is now. At some point in the history, in the richest nation in this country, in the history of the world rather, we've got to address these issues of poverty for real, for real. I'll leave it there. 3 hours are up. I'm done for the day. Tomorrow's Friday, so tomorrow is the best of Tavis, Smiley on these stations all across the country. Thanks for tuning in to today's program. We, again, felt like a bouncy house today, but thank you for your time. And until the next time, keep the faith.
Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. The Patriots host the Jets on Thursday Night Football. New England leads the division at 8-2 after 7 straight wins, and Stephon Diggs is pumped to debut the new uniforms.
I think the new uniforms are great. Definitely something to be excited about. Try not to get caught up in all that. We just got to focus on winning the game.
The Jets have won 2 in a row, but still sit last at 2-8. Billionaire philanthropist Mackenzie Scott has donated $19 million to Voorhees University, an HBCU in South Carolina. The gift will fund scholarships, boost the endowment, and improve facilities. Scott previously gave the HBCU $4 million in 2020. And tomorrow is National Ruby Bridges Walk to School Day. Schools nationwide will honor bridges who at age